there. Subscribe to my channel. And also press this bell icon.
Hello there. Today, I am going to share with you my partially completed new application, which I hope that you will find the scripts that I have used to accomplish my requirements useful. In this video, I will be sharing the following: client scripting, server scripting, set_query, calling custom function, adding script for child table, checking duplicate record in grid table, updating value of other fields, delete event for child table, and few more. Another thing, I just want to share how I added a new application in ERPNext, as I did not know how to make it before. Following are the commands I used. Ship_agency is the application name, and ssmsc.com is the name of the site. Just to give you an idea, this application will record the cargo manifest of a vessel and other related information to generate a formatted text file that will be uploaded to Customs portal for submission. The formatted text file is equivalent to the old ways wherein we submit a printed manifest of the vessel to Customs. Most of the fields in this application are based on the manifest specifications document that was provided to us from the Customs to make sure that our generated text file is compliant to their specifications to avoid any errors when uploading to their portal. In this photo, I am sharing with you the relationship between doc types and some of the key information that the Customs requires. As I have mentioned, this is still a partially completed application, and so I am hoping to make another video of the progress. Okay, let us now start the demonstration. First and foremost, allow me to show you some of the doc types that I have created as a master file. Most of them come from manifest documentation. Therefore, these are the only accepted values in the Customs portal. Otherwise, we must do some mapping. Worth noting here is the ports master file. Please take note of the column function, as we will be using this to filter the ports. To further understand the function column, here in the port type master file, we can know if the selected port is a seaport, railway, land, or an airport. To further understand its usage, let me open the vessel registry. As you can see here, I have already registered 2 vessels. Inside, we have 4 tabs wherein it shows the basic information of the vessel, Saudi EDI reference as required by the Customs, routes of the vessel to know its loading ports, previous, and so forth, and the list of containers as its cargo. Let us go back to Routes tab so you will have the understanding regarding the usage of the function column in the ports master file. Here in the port of loading field, you can see that the drop-down list shows all types of ports as per the indicated numbers. Here we have a mixture of numbers like 4, 2, 3, and 1. But since we are only interested in showing the seaports, which is equivalent to 1, then we need to filter this field to show only those ports whose functions contains number 1. And this goes same to other fields: port of discharge, previous port, and next port. Now to do this, we need to create a client script. Since I have already created this script before, I just put a remark on the script so it will not be executed. As you can see, I created a custom function and make use of the set_query function to filter each field to only show seaports for port of loading, port of discharge, previous port, and next port. Now, to execute this custom function, we just need to call it in the refresh event. Just make sure that the enabled checkbox is marked, otherwise it will not be executed. Let me refresh the page so it will load the client script. As you can see now, it mentions that filters is applied for this field for function like %1%. The drop-down list is now showing us only those ports where function contains the number 1, which is a seaport. And this goes same to the other fields: port of discharge, previous port, and next port. Let us now proceed to the Containers tab, as I want to show you how to set certain fields as mandatory depending on the value of the other field. Here, we have a field called container number, which is linked to another doc type showing us the list of containers in the master file. As you have noticed, after selecting a container, the fields under the temperature section are set to mandatory fields. Let me select another container so we'll know that it changes from mandatory to optional. Let me open doc type so I can show you how I did it. Please note that this is a child table. You need a child doc type to create a grid table. Now, based on the value of the field container underscore type, I want to set the temperature fields to mandatory if its value is equal to reefer. Here in the mandatory depends on box, I added a script to change its status. You can also add a script in the read only depends on box. Again, based on the container type field, we can hide the temperature section if it is equal to reefer. And there you go. That is how you use the depends on box to control the properties of a field. Let me just add one more container and save the list. I want to show you another script on how to filter a drop-down list depending on the value of another field. But before that, let me just show how I added this button in case you are still new to ERPNext. Here in the Link Documents section, I added the bill of ladings doc type, which has a field called vessel underscore job underscore null. Okay, let us add a new bill of lading under this job SA 24001. Again, on this field port of origin, I have made a script to filter and show only C ports. For this field, final destination port, I am controlling its list depending on the value of the field FD port type. Right now, it will only show C ports. Therefore, if I search Riyadh, which is not a seaport, then it will not be shown in the list. By changing the value of port type to railway, then final destination port will only show ports that are railways. Let me just save this record for a while and then open the client script list. As you can see here, I have added the set_query script to filter the port of origin field to show only seaports. But let me explain first what refresh function means. It means that whenever a page is refreshed, or a new record is added, or the next record is viewed, then this event will trigger, executing the set_query function and calling the func_port_type custom function. Here's another event called an onChange event. An onChange event means that whenever the value of the field fd_port_type is changed, then it will call the custom function func_port_type. For this function to know if it is a refresh or onChange event, then we must indicate in the parameter. For this function, we mention onChange. Now, for the custom function, I used an if-else statement to set the variable filter, so I can reference it in the set_query function. Making use of the parameter event, I am setting the value of the field final_destination_port to empty whenever the user changes the value of the field fd_port_type. Here is another filter I want to show you, but first let me take you back to the vessel registry. Here, we have 2 vessels registered in this dock type. Please take note that this vessel contains only 2 containers, and if we check the other vessel, it is only 1. Let me open this vessel and please take note that there are 2 containers inside. If I add a new cargo items, I should only see 2 containers which are registered for this vessel. But as you can see, it shows all the containers wherein the first container belongs to SA24002. Therefore, we need to filter this field. Now, to filter the column container number, we first need to know the name of the child table and the field name for this column. Let me just open its doc type so we can know the name of this child table. And here it is. BL_items is the name of the child table and BL items is the doc type linked to it. And this is the field name for the column container number, and vessel containers is the doc type linked to it. Please take note that SA24001 is the vessel that we are working on right now, and in this vessel, you can see the 2 containers. To filter this table, we need to link it to its parent SA24001, which we must mention in our set_query script. Again, we should only be seeing these 2 containers in the list and filter out this first container. Therefore, we need to create a custom function for this. I have this custom function, which I have created before, and I use the set_query to filter the field container number, which can be found in the child table BL_items. As I have mentioned, to filter this column, we need to relate it to its parent, vessel registry, by using the linked field vessel_job_no. Let me reload the page so the script will take effect. As you can see, we have successfully filtered the column to show only the containers belonging to SA24001. I have another script that I want to share. I want the system to alert the user whenever a duplicate container is entered and then automatically empty the field. Please know that I got this script from Google as I am not a Python programmer, and I don't know how to do it. So, in this script I just changed the child table name and specified the field that I want to check for duplicate entry. I have added a new line to set the value of container number to empty. Since this is a child table, then we need to call that function inside a child form and not on the parent. As you may have noticed, the script worked, but the container number remains when it should have been cleared. I really don't have any idea why it did not work, but my workaround was to refresh the child table. I have another script I want to show wherein I sum up the number of packages, gross weight, counting the number of containers, and then update the results in parent fields. As you can see, I have updated 4 fields every time a record is added, deleted, or modified. I have another custom function that does all the computing wherein this function will be called inside the child script. There is one condition in this if statement that I need to tell you on why I must evaluate if the variable field value is equal to undefined, and for me to show you the answer is to make use of the console.log function to display its result. As you can see, after clicking the Add Row button, the console log displays the value of the container number which is undefined. The reason for this is because the container number field is not yet set or does not exist in the array. And for my computing to be correct, I must make sure that it will only count the number of containers that are unique in the list, and that it should not include any null or empty values. Please take note that by adding the suffix _add or _remove after a child's name, it triggers the add or remove event respectively. Here's another script that I want to share to you in this video is how to set a child's column to mandatory or required using the client script. Inside the custom function func_container number, I have here a script which I have remarked. In this, I use the get_list function to get the list of containers using the vessel_job_node to filter the result and to limit the record to fetch to 1. I only need one record to know if there are containers in the vessel or not. Once a record is found, then using the toggle_required property of a column, I can make that field mandatory or optional. To demonstrate on how this script looks like, I need to delete the container inside this vessel SA24002. Please note, the doc type name for this grid list is vessel containers. As you know, SA24001 has 2 containers, and therefore the column container number will now be marked as mandatory as indicated with the red asterisk. And as for SA24002, it should be marked as optional as there are no containers registered in this vessel. To conclude this video, let me just show you a server script that I made to alert the user that the same BL number already exists. This alert will be triggered when the Save button is clicked. And that's it for today. I hope that you will find this video useful to you. I'm not sure if I will be able to make part 2 of this video as I am facing some challenges on how to get past it. Anyway, thank you for watching and hope to see you on my next video.